Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started here in a few minutes. We had the pre-meeting, which had a number of interviews, bump into this evening's calendar. As soon as we get all the members here, well, we'll get started here in just a second. Is Councilmember Seffa-Dawson online?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Well, good evening and welcome to the Federal Way City Council meeting for Tuesday, February 3rd. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everyone. Again, sorry we're running just a few minutes behind. We had a pre-meeting before this in which a number of interviews were taking place. Council's always working hard on a variety of fronts, and thank you to the community members who participated in those interviews. Okay, now next we have, I would also like to acknowledge Councilmember Walsh is out of state, and I believe, he's unavailable. His absence is excused. Also, Councilmember Seffa-Dawson is joining via Zoom. Good evening, Councilmember Seffa-Dawson.
Hello.
Oh, there you go. Hi there. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I'm having health issues, so I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person.
Well, thank you very much for being here. Okay, now one of the really great duties I get to do here at the City of Federal Way, and that we get to do as a city government, is recognize people who have contributed so much to our community. One of those individuals is an individual named Tim Lerner, who has volunteered with the Federal Way Police Department for just over 15 years, having begun his time as a police volunteer in November of 2010. In fact, actually, Tim, while in the process of going through your history, would you mind coming to the podium while I say a few words about your service? Thank you, sir. So, 15 years. Thank you, sir. Tim began his commitment to public service in 1965 as a volunteer with the Burien Fire Department. Not to overemphasize 1965, but wow. Let's see here. As a volunteer with the Burien Fire Department, being promoted to full-time chief just 4 years later in 1969. Now, he retired from the Burien Fire Department in 1990, which gave him even more time to volunteer and to serve his community, our community. He volunteered with his daughter's school from 1990 until 2000, where he helped create a lunch program that raised more than $100,000 and funded the school's computer lab. At Federal Way PD, he's a police department. He has volunteered in many roles. He's been a vehicle maintenance worker, assisted with the department's shopping cart program, served on the Safe City Board, and staffed the City Hall front lobby desk. That's where I first met, really, and encountered Tim. And assisting community members and providing information. In fact, there was an issue in his neighborhood in Marine Hills where I was talking to some of the neighbors, and they're like, "You just got to talk to Tim. He's an expert on this." And that's actually how many people in the community feel about Tim. It was about mailboxes and about other issues. Tim is known for his reliability, approachability, and a strong service-oriented mindset. He's often stated that working at City Hall made him feel like family. Tim's lifetime of public and volunteer service spans more than 5 decades, and he truly exemplifies dedication, community engagement, and servant leadership. Sir, on behalf of a grateful community, we want to say thank you, and let's give him a big round of applause. Thank you. says here, oh, I better put my glasses on. From the Federal Way Police Department volunteer in appreciation of 15 years of volunteer service with the Federal Way Police Department, November 10 through January 2026. Sir?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Would you like to say a few words?
Actually, the dates were a little bit incorrect. I started with the fire department in '69, and then I rose through the ranks and made chief in 1980. I didn't make chief just a couple of years after I got there.
That seemed like a meteoric rise.
I was still on the bottom of the row, cleaning windows and washing toilets. But it's been my pleasure to serve in Federal Way as a volunteer of the police department. From the day we walked in, as they do every volunteer, they make us feel like we're part of the family. They remember us all the times, and the good times and the bad times, if we lose family, things like that. They're always right there for our support. Our community needs volunteers in the volunteer police program, as in the city volunteer program. But if anybody's interested in becoming a volunteer for the Federal Way Police Department, please check into it. I have found so much love and respect in this position, and I'm able to turn it around and greet people as they walk in our front door as the first person they see. And it's always been my feeling that not everybody comes to City Hall because they want to or because they're happy. Maybe a little more unhappy than those that are happy. If we treat them with respect when they walk in that door, as we do every single person, then it tends to cool them off just a little bit to where they can at least tell their story without anger. So that's been my charge, that's been my pleasure, and it has truly been an honor to serve in the city of Federal Way as a volunteer. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Tim. And the city's better for your service for it. Thank you so much. Okay, now we are moving to Black History Proclamation. Councilmember Les Sessoms.
This is a Black History Month proclamation. After I finish, I'd like to have Mr. Marquise Hale come to the podium to receive the proclamation. Whereas Black History Month is an annual observance recognizing the profound contributions of Black Americans to the history, culture, and progress of the United States. And whereas Black history is American history, inseparable from the nation's story of struggle, resilience, innovation, and freedom, and acknowledgement of the shared past strengthens community bonds and civic understanding. And whereas the city of Federal Way holds its own rich Black history through the early pioneers, John and Mary Connor, who settled near Panther Lake in 1883, who after being born into slavery and serving honorably in the Civil War, went on to become a prosperous real estate agent, community leader, and sergeant-at-arms for the Washington State Legislature, helping to frame the Public Accommodations Act of 1890, which expanded civil rights for all citizens. And whereas the legacy of the Connor family and other Black residents of Federal Way enriches the cultural fabric of our city, and serves as a reminder of the diverse individuals who helped build this community. Now, therefore, we, the undersigned mayor and city council members of the city of Federal Way, do hereby proclaim February 26, 2026 as Black History Month in Federal Way, and call for all residents to commemorate this event through efforts that celebrate heritage, inspire future generations, and promote mutual respect. Signed this third day of February 2026. I would also like to acknowledge, as I invite Mr. Hale to come to the podium, that the Federal Way High School BSU is also here in council chambers. And if there are any representatives from the Federal Way High School BSU Black Student Union, please also come to the podium. Again, thank you. Marquise, would you like to say a few words here?
My passion has always been able to stand for our black and brown students, be a hope to them, to build their future, and always stand and share with them that they can do anything they want to do, anything they want to put their minds to, they can do, because they are smart, they are intelligent. They are the next business owners of Washington. They are the next business owners of those who will go out and travel in this world. So we need to build them up, and we need to stand behind them and push them and continue to share with them about their worth and their value.
Who's the president? Okay, come on up and say a few words. State your name.
Hello, my name is Noni Amin Kinsey. I'm one of the secretaries of Federal Way High School's BSU.
Hello, my name is Gianna Young. I am the second secretary of Federal Way BSU.
We would like to thank you all for inviting us to come here. As young Black students, it's always a welcoming experience for someone to uplift us and show us that we matter in this world, knowing the Black history in our, not only our state, but in our city specifically. We, as Black Student Union, will always represent not only Black students as a whole, but every student body that there is, and we would always like to uplift and welcome everyone to Federal Way. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you, Councilmember. All right, Heart Health Month proclamation, Councilmember Melissa Hamilton.
Thank you, Mayor, and I would like to call up to receive this proclamation two different recipients, Carolyn Vidino, Commissioner Carolyn Vidino, right? Okay, and Chief Ryan Woody with the South King Fire, and then also Alex Hamasaki with the American Heart Association. And so with that, I will read the proclamation. Heart Health Month, whereas cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in the United States, and many of these deaths are preventable through proactive, daily healthy living steps such as physical activity, good nutrition, not smoking, and managing blood pressure and cholesterol. And whereas heart disease does not discriminate, affecting men and women of all ages, backgrounds, and ethnicities. And whereas the American Heart Association, along with other health organizations, urge citizens to learn the warning signs of heart attack and stroke, receive training in CPR, and understand the importance of immediate emergency action. And whereas the City of Federal Way is committed to promoting health education and empowering residents to make lifestyle changes that can lead to longer, healthier lives. Now, therefore, we, the undersigned mayor and city council members of the city of Federal Way, do hereby proclaim February 2026 as Heart Health Month and encourage all residents to take an active role in their heart health, support awareness efforts, and join in the fight against heart disease. Signed this third day of February 2026.
And I would also like to add that I am a heart attack survivor. I'm very, very transparent about that and open. I believe in heart health and health promotion. For those of you who have a cardiologist like I do, take their advice. Stay healthy, take your meds. But most of all, pass on the virtues of heart health to your loved ones. We all deserve to have a life free of pain and suffering. So protect your heart. And as we see the proclamation being given, know that heart attacks and other cardiovascular diseases are America's #1 killer. Okay, so take heart, no pun intended. Be encouraged. Eat right, get your exercise, and thank you, Councilmember Hamilton, and thank you all.
First of all, I'm not Chief Woody. He could not attend. My name's Craig Burris. I'm a commissioner with South King Fire. I really appreciate that we're being included in this. The way I see it, this heart health is prevention. And we all know that an ounce of prevention worth a pound of cure and all that. When prevention doesn't work, that's where the fire department steps in with intervention. South King Fire went on 900 cardiac calls last year. 167 of those were full cardiac arrest. That's where CPR steps in. And I mean, I think we all know the basics of CPR. Well, probably most of us had the Red Cross. Fire department CPR is very different. It's all controlled by King County EMS, and they decide exactly how it's going to happen, and every fire department follows the exact same protocol. That protocol changes a lot, and that's because they're also always trying to figure out how to do it better. So they do a lot of studies, and South King Fire has always been the very first to raise their hand and say, we want to be part of this study, going all the way back to the 70s. And to this day, South King Fire is still heavily involved in all the studies. So they change one little aspect of what the protocol is. There's usually like 3 or 4 different departments that do that within King County. Then everybody goes back to the old way. King County EMS studies the results. Was there a better outcome for the patients? And if there's a better outcome, well, then they change the protocol for everybody in King County. And that's what has resulted in, I mean, nobody wants to have a problem, but there's no better place than King County in the world if you do have a cardiac problem. Your outcome, the probability of you being able to go home and restart your life where you left it off is there's no better place than King County. So that's why I think including us in this, it's 2 bookends, and it's just approaching the problem in 2 different ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, hi, I'm Alex, and I'm with American Heart Association. February is American Heart Month, a time to spotlight heart health, prevention, and life-saving actions that can strengthen our communities. Each year, more than 350,000 people experience cardiac arrest outside of the hospital in the U.S., and immediate CPR can double or even triple a person's chance of survival. Together, we can ensure more people are ready to act when seconds matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Vedino, you want to say, or thank you. Well, thank you for your service as well. You know, the fire department is absolutely, you know, when my mother was struggling with congestive heart failure, there were several times in which the South King Fire came and it was just a very emotional time for our family, but it was South Keene Fire that was there every time, within minutes. Thank you so much for the work you do. Okay, now Mayor's Emerging Issues and Report. Last week, I was actually back in Washington, D.C. for the United States Conference of Mayors, and that, what am I doing without an overcoat there? It was 19 degrees back there. Bill Vedino and I went to go see the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Monument in 19 degrees weather. It was an intelligence test. But when you're in D.C., you had to see those things. That is, I believe, outside the Hart Office Building, which is one of the Senate office buildings, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But boy, it was cold. All right, this is inside U.S. Senator Cantwell's office, and we're there with the mayors of Redmond, Renton, Auburn, Kent, the newly minted mayor of Issaquah, and myself, along with the senator. And I told her the last time I had seen her, first of all, I said, Senator, thank you so much for your help with Sound Transit and making sure that got delivered. And I said, I see your picture every day because we did this big picture of, right when we cut the ribbon and the confetti's going everywhere. And I said, reminded her that she spoke just a few minutes before I did, and that she was in the front row and bounded up onto the stage. And I spent the next 20 minutes, I knew I was going to speak like 20 minutes later, and I spent the next 20 minutes going, do I do that? I thought, no way. I went the long way around, and she got a good laugh. But she's been a great advocate for Federal Way, and we talked about issues affecting Washington and the entire United States. And it is really, we've been out there several times with the National League of Cities and U.S. Conference of Mayors. Oftentimes, we can meet with senior staff, but it was a real pleasure to be able to meet directly with Senator Cantwell. And we talked about all kinds of issues, from storm damage, working with the administration. Also, she's working on a comprehensive artificial intelligence bill and the ongoing budget right now. But you could see just in regard to all the way from Redmond down to Federal Way, essentially the concentration of those mayors in this area being able to convene and have access to our U.S. Senator. It was very nice. Directly below that was the picture of us meeting with Senator Patty Murray, who's really in senior leadership at this point. We had a great opportunity to discuss many of those same issues, and really appreciated her perspective on the issues facing our state. And once again, we sat, and Susan, weren't we were in the Capitol, and we were getting ready to meet, and then something last minute happened. Do you remember that? This was last year?
I think they were called to the floor,
Yeah, that's right.
but I can't remember why.
Yeah.
It had to be really important, though.
It was, because we were actually in the DC office.
We were in her office.
This is in her constituent office in one of the, I think it was in Russell, the Russell office building. But it is a great opportunity to have been able to meet with both of our U.S. senators and talk about the issues that matter. And it was the same group of mayors as well.
We did get to meet with her assistants.
That's right.
So we did get to say what we needed to say for the city.
That's right, exactly. Anyway, we're fortunate to have, and we've got our federal lobbyists here. Thank you so much for we've got this on the agenda later on. But the U.S. Conference of Mayors was a great opportunity to talk about the issues facing our country, facing the issues that we face, not only collectively but individually, and hear about different solutions and ways that they address that. It was interesting, actually. Bill and I I wondered whether I was going to meet the new mayor of Seattle, and then we actually happened to be on the same flight. And I said to Bill Vedino, our policy assistant, and my right arm and sometimes my left arm, and we were sitting there, and I'm like, hey, that's Katie Wilson. And so we went up, said hi. She ended up being not only in our same row, but right next to us. And so we flew all the way out to Washington, D.C. for 5 hours, sitting next to the new mayor of Seattle. It was a good opportunity to get to know her a bit, and some of the folks from around the country we got to meet as well. And actually, the mayor of Kent was recognized for the work that they're doing. They've got a tremendous amount of aerospace that Kent is working on, and I think Auburn has kind of the same kinds of things. And Redmond obviously has Microsoft. So we are very fortunate to have the delegation of mayors that we had there. Also, the new mayor of Issaquah is a former 3-term state senator from the 5th Legislative District, and an Indiana graduate, so we got to talk about Indiana football, but a very seasoned a public official, and he actually helped us make sure that we're all coordinated to get to these trips, and he has great staff as well. So anyway, it was a great event. Next. On the local level, more regional level, we had Association of Washington City, that's AWC, City Action Days. It was a 2-day conference. The conference was held at, actually, I'm sitting between two St. Martin University graduates, Councilmember Hamilton and Council President Moore, and we were in the big, gymnasium, what I call the field house. And it was a great convention to hear from folks. We heard from the governor, heard from some budget folks, heard from other regional city officials and AWC staff and their legislative staff. And then after that, then we went up to the Hill and our Hill in Olympia and met with Senator Wilson and Representative Reeves, and had good meetings with them, and just go over our priorities and kind of check in with them and wish them well. They work hard for each and every all of us. Okay, we had our council retreat, which I thought it went very well, very productive and positive, and whoever arranged that picture did a phenomenal job. See the arrangement of that picture? We were down there at Dumas Bay. There's the council president and I, and had a good conversation, but most importantly, they had bacon at breakfast, and we had a good discussion and a good opportunity to talk about the future of our city. Next. We had the Booker House grand opening, and Council President Moore, would you like to address? I was going to with my reports. Oh, okay. You can do that then. Yeah. And let's see here. That was a great event, from what I hear. I was obviously on the other side of the country. The Mending Fair was on February 1st of 2026. And Susan, did you go to that?
We did. It was very exciting because the women who do the mending, which is really awesome because I hate it. I took, you had to take home ec. I hated sewing. And I still do. And but anyway, a lot of people were there. The menders went to the wrong library. And so they showed up a little bit late, but they eventually all came, and I hope everyone got what they signed up for. Because you do have to sign up in advance when they come, because there's so much demand for this, and they're amazing. They're really fast, and they're really good at what they do. They're very talented.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, and they're doing great things over there at that tool library. Okay, upcoming community events. We have the drive-through recycling event at the South King Tool Library, as I just said a few minutes ago. They do great things. That's on February 7th. That's this Saturday on the 7th. They're going to take scrap metal, Christmas lights, electrical cords, styrofoam, and plastic film. So that's, if you don't know what to do with certain things, if you have any question about whether something would be appropriate, email our staff, email me or anybody up here, and we'll get you that answer. Okay, then we've got this year's State of the City address at the Performing Arts and Event Center at February 19th. Doors will open at about 5:30, and the address will start at 6 p.m. It's a great opportunity to not only hear, from some of the remarks I'm going to make about the direction, but where council members are going to be there, the different departments of our city are going to be there. But one of the things that we've done, and a big thanks to Pam and Ben and Bill and everybody and Brian and all of the management team, is not only do we have our own city departments there, but we've got our other local governments, our nonprofits. And Pam, how many, normally you guys, we don't shout from the back of the room, but I'm going to encourage just one exception. Pam, how many tables have we got confirmed yet?
We have about 55, so the circle like 10 more.
Okay, so if you have a table and want to, or if you'd like to have a table in the lobby, both before and after the State of the City, we'd welcome you to come. It's a great opportunity, and that venue is just a really great opportunity to connect with the community. And so encourage you to be there. I promise I won't go on too long, and all evidence to the contrary. We'll go on. Doors open at 5:30 and starts at 6. Upcoming community events, we've got Family Prom at the Federal Way Community Center. That's February 28th. John, is John back there? Where is he? He's probably back there in the GAC. That's the control room. When he gets, anyway, we've got the Family Prom at the Federal Way Community Center. That's on February 28th, $17. A Night to Believe in Magic, 5:30 to 7 p.m. And then we've got Kickin' at Federal Way, June 19th through 21st. Meredith, would you like to talk about what Kickin' at Federal Way is?
Sure. So that is a 3-day event that the city is putting on. It is a free FIFA World Cup watch party weekend. So it will start on June 19th with the Team USA game that's happening up in Seattle against Australia. And then I'll be playing all of the games through the weekend. Along with that, there'll also be a stage. There'll be all sorts of activities outside in the yard area so people can come watch inside the theater or partake in other ways. There'll be some sort of tournament, some other soccer-related things that our Parks Department is working on right now. So a really fun weekend. It's all free, 3 days.
Very good. Okay, thank you very much. All right, that concludes my report. I think we've gone through all that. Okay, now it's time for Council Committee and Regional Committee reports. Councilmember Sessoms for Parks, Recreation, Human Services, and Public Safety.
Thank you, Mayor. We have not had an official meeting or any type of meeting yet. It is a new year. However, we have met to set the agenda. Everyone is welcome to attend next week's meeting, February 10th at 5 p.m. right here in the council chambers. We will meet to discuss several issues. Among those are, we've got an authorization to bid, to discuss a contract to make repairs at the Federal Way Community Center. We will also be approving a Parks Commission work plan, and among other things, approving an interlocal agreement with DSHS. So everyone's welcome. I'm sorry I don't have a lot to report tonight, but please do show up next week, 5 o'clock, February 10th. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Honda for Land Use?
Thank you. So last night we had land use, and it was our first meeting of the year, because it was it's February, whatever. Anyway, we had an award bid for the 2026 asphalt overlay project, the docket selection for 2026 comp plan amendments, an ordinance for co-living housing code amendments, which was really fascinating, and progress update on sound transit projects. And for the docket selection for the comp plan amendments, we had one submission this year. And it's for a piece of property on 320th and First. I'm sure many of you know about it. And I would like to turn this over to Councilmember Hamilton to talk about why council members are not responding to your emails when you write to us and tell us your opinion about this property. Would you like to do that?
Sure. Well, it has to do with being a quasi-judicial role. So I would actually defer to the city attorney because he is the expert on this, but we're not allowed to have ex parte communication.
Yes, so when, on occasion, council will, instead of passing laws that affects everybody generally, they will have to talk about a specific property right. In this case, we have one applicant, it's the 320th and First Avenue. I know there's been a lot of interest in that property, and I think council members have received a lot of pro and con kind of emails about that. Once something is on the docket and is going to be considered in this capacity by the council, they sort of become judges. It's called a quasi-judicial hearing, and part of that is that they cannot have ex parte communication. They cannot communicate directly with people outside of meetings. They're supposed to only contemplate and consider those things that are presented in public hearings, so that it's all above board and there's no kind of back channel decisions being made. So that is why they're not responding. We've, as staff, tell council when these hearings come and kind of warn them not to communicate. So hopefully, from now on, you will get emails back explaining that. I think that we had a draft email went out today that you can use, council members can use to explain that concept. But it's not that they're ignoring you, it's that they are not supposed to communicate outside of the public hearing.
So let's say someone stops you in a grocery store, which has happened to me. I report that I had a conversation with somebody about the property. So that's how that's handled. Just to keep it all transparent.
Right. And to address even the appearance of any of that. Okay, well, thank you very much. Okay, Councilmember Asefa Dawson, lodging tax.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and I have nothing to report tonight.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Honda, finance.
Was it last night? No, a week ago, we had our finance meeting, and we discussed on tonight's consent agenda the November AP and payroll vouchers, December AP and payroll vouchers, December monthly financial report, the PD interlocal agreement with the 2026 FIFA World Cup mutual aid agreement with the City of Renton, economic development contract, Makers Agricultural and Urban Design, and a resolution for the interfund loan extension for the former Target property, which I am going to be pulling from consent, but I already talked to Director Groom about that. And on tonight's council business agenda, we are talking about the resolution for the fee schedule. And council members had a lot of questions about the fee schedule, so hopefully we get those answered tonight. Our next FEDRAC meeting is February 24th, 5 o'clock here in council chambers, and we hope you all come.
All right, thank you. And then regional committees?
So I encourage council members to sign up for the AWC Friday afternoon legislative updates. They're from 12:30 to 1:15. You need to sign up ahead of time, and then they send you the Zoom link probably 15 minutes ahead of that. So if you don't get it much sooner than that, don't panic, you will get it. AWC staff talks about what's going on in Olympia, what is of interest to cities, and how they're responding, and if they need any help from the cities. And then we have a chance to ask questions. So it is very interesting and very informative. Tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. at SeaTac City Hall, SCA will be having, an introduction to SCA, what they do, and the committees and boards. So if you're interested, they do want you to pre-register because they're providing a light dinner. But that is very interesting. We've been doing that online for the last few years, so it'll be nice to do that back in person and be able to see council members from around the region.
All right, thank you very much. Council President report.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. So as the mayor was indicating earlier, with his report, I was able to represent him and my colleagues on the city council at the Booker House opening that the Urban League of Metropolitan will be managing that. So if you don't know what that is, it offers stable housing for homeless people, and it's a great, great service to our community here. So I was able to speak, and also the council members that did join me was Councilmember Hamilton, Coachmar, Honda, and Walsh, and later on at the reception, Councilmember Sessoms was able to join us as well, so along with other elected officials. So that was a wonderful opportunity, and so great to see Federal Way be active in solutions. So also, I met with Senator Claire Wilson, just one-on-one, since I missed the opportunity to meet with her, with my colleagues, and so did that. And then I also toured Camp Moxie Joe's. Great little gem in our community. We have to get them back on track. Really neat little jewel. So with that, I will end my report. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, now the most important part of the meeting, public comment. You've got 3 minutes to speak. Unless you haven't, I think we've got one instance of this, of 5 people that are here and are listed, and then they can speak for 5 minutes. So green means go, yellow means you've got about 30 seconds, red means please stop. So if you get right to the end and the last timer goes off, if you've got a word or two, but please don't keep going. I hate to interrupt people. Okay, these are the folks we've got. If you could sort of queue up toward the back, we've got Harold Booker, Barbara Kuhn, Jeffrey Tancredi, Jacqueline Alarcon, Kevin Morris, Allison Fine, Betty Taylor, and then we've got Nonamin Kinsey Phillips, and then 5 people that are listed. Gianni Young, Chloe Holt, Emmanuel, can't quite read that, but we'll go 5 minutes on that. Oh, and I've got also Anna Patrick and Dara Mandeville. Okay, so let's start with Harold Booker. Sir, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President, and members of the council. Initially, first thing, thank you for your representation at the opening of the Booker House. It was a nice, wonderful event and a long-term commitment to helping the residents, and it's going to take a community and a village to continue to help them through, and appreciated the representation. Tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about leadership, collaboration, and active listening. We had a previous council member who talked often about iron strengthens iron. Very, very true. Very true from my military background and my family, but it is also one tool in a toolbox of a strong leader. If the only tool you have in this toolbox is a hammer, you are limited in your leadership and the breadth of your leadership and the opportunities. You need screwdrivers and hammers and pliers and various leadership opportunities and methods as you actively listen, seek out the right tool for that time and that situation. And so I encourage our council to actively listen to the community and strengthen the tools that you have, because different situations require different tools. The only tool I have in the toolbox is a sledgehammer, and I'm trying to put up a picture on the wall. Sometimes I don't have the results I would like. And I'll close tonight with a couple of quotes from my grandmother. Alvarita Little, surround yourself with people who add to the equation. And the second is believe in yourself, but you don't have to be brilliant to be successful. You must surround yourself with positive achievers or visionaries who add strength to the cause, the team, the project you're working on. Then any goal is achievable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, Barbara Kuhn.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I have a handout for you. It's real short.
Well, if you could make sure that, actually, Barbara, can you give it to the city clerk? We're going to restart your timer here, and then she'll make sure that we get a copy of that for the record, and then she'll distribute that. And then we're going to restart your timer, okay?
Okay, thank you. Okay. So I would like to speak to you tonight about an alarming trend in our school system. Last week, students walked out of the Auburn High School and Olympic Middle School in Auburn to protest the presence of ICE in the area. This week, a notice has been posted to encourage children in Federal Way to walk out of school on February 5th and 6th. This is not what we want our children to be doing. Firstly, parents expect their children to be in school learning, not outside protesting for anyone's political position. Secondly, children should not be out in the streets during school hours where they can get injured, perhaps in those streets, by cars. What is the Washington State school system thinking? I don't know. Is thinking even involved? Good question. No wonder our students are failing drastically in school. May I remind you that all our schools are at the bottom of the list for academics. We are ranked 206th out of 247 districts in Washington State. Our school system's priorities are terribly wrong. Children are in schools to be educated, not to be made into protesters by adults who are taking advantage of them. You need to get control of this problem before someone, probably a school child, gets hurt or, God forbid, even killed. The ICE issue is one that belongs to adults to handle, not children. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Barbara. All right, Jeffrey Tangredi.
Good evening, Mayor, Council President. Jeff Tancredi, Federal Way resident for about 29 years. So tonight, just wanted to talk briefly about Kimberly Brown. Kimberly Brown is the daughter of NFL legend Hall of Famer Jim Brown. Kimberly Brown spoke at President Trump's rally the day before the 2024 election in Pennsylvania. Her father passed away. Both Kimberly and her father were very strong Trump supporters. But she spoke at that rally about all of the things, all of the accomplishments of President Trump as it relates to the black community. She started off by talking about Title IX and that President Trump is committed to keeping men out of women's sports. Also, she talked about opportunity zones. Opportunity zones are placed in black communities to empower black entrepreneurship. She said that if you start a business in an opportunity zone, no taxes on capital gains. This fosters entrepreneurship and also economic development. She also talked about school choice and how African American students disproportionately have low test scores and low graduation rates. She said with school choice, President Trump is giving these kids and their parents the opportunity to go to the school of their choice so that they're not restricted by a zip code. She also talked about the record-breaking HBCU funding. President Trump committed to 10 years to fund the historically black colleges and universities. That means that President Trump is committed to higher education for the black community. Number 4, Kimberly Brown talked about prison reform. She said that President Trump abolished 3 strikes, you're out for non-violent criminals. I bring these things up because the mainstream media doesn't tell you this. She said on prison reform, when President Trump abolished 3 strikes, you're out, the prior president in 1988 and 1994 voted for the crime bill that did historically mass incarceration of African American men. President Trump freed them, despite the left calling him a racist. So tonight, I salute Kimberly Brown. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Jacqueline Alarcon. Alarcon. Jacqueline? Is Jacqueline here? Okay. All right, if Jacqueline shows back up, just let me know. Kevin Morris. Then Allison Fine.
Good evening, Council. It's good to see you again. I'm going to start by saying, but not necessarily with all due respect, I'm going to ask a question of our council president. Are you still the chairman and president of the 30th District Democrats?
Actually, our council rules, can we do this? Can we, we're going to restart the timer. Mr. Morris, our council rules specifically say the council should be delivered as a whole to the council and not to one. So I want to make sure,
I'll retract that.
because I've enforced that rule, so I want to make sure that I'm not selectively enforcing it. So
Okay.
would you, let's hit the restart button and let's start again.
That'd be fine.
Okay.
In previous times that I've come up, I've spoken about the conversations that have been going on, and the can is still being kicked down the road, and it's maybe not such a big issue as it was, but that was the flag issue. I brought up the idea that probably the best way to handle it would be to have a pavilion placed on public ground. I'm willing to make a commitment to put together a group to fund such a pavilion. And those people, the entities that would like to raise a flag in that pavilion would do so by also contributing to the cost of the poles and the land for the pavilion. I have a flag I'd like to present that I want to see put up in the pavilion. Upside down.
Yeah, it's upside down again. Take this. I got that.
There we go. Okay. I can't see it.
Still backwards.
All right. You're here to Charlie Kirk.
There we go.
So I respectfully ask that that is considered in the future as far as the pavilion goes. And I'm sorry for my remark. No, I'm not sorry for my remarks, but I did retract them.
All right.
So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Allison Fine.
Hey, friends. So first of all, I'm going to speak as a diversity commissioner very quickly and just say, Mayor Farrell, if you could please include in your remarks at the State of the City address something about the Federal Way Diversity Commission Community Survey, that would be very great. We could even put a QR code up in your plethora of slides I'm sure that we will see, because that would be very supportive and allow a lot of people to access the community survey. Second of all, in terms of the flag issue, I'm here representing the commission to say that we are standing ready, should you be able to send that back to the Diversity Commission to make decisions or recommendations on what we think could be a solution. Third of all, I will just say there are already maybe some conflicts coming up between events such as the community festival and the Federal Way Farmers Market. Just small things, so I hope that everybody can work together since they're both city events. Now I am taking off that hat, and I am no longer speaking as a commission member. And I would say we should absolutely fly that flag as soon as we have a Turning Point Day, holiday, week, month event. Then we can fly that flag, because the flags that we fly are representational of something important like Pride Month, Juneteenth, Irish Heritage Day, things like that. Camp Moxie Joe's, please save that. It is a gem. Please save that. If you haven't been there, please save that. It is interesting for community members to say things like we shouldn't do walkouts, as if we can lock kids in schools. We cannot. And it's not okay to use kids for political purposes, but it was okay to use kids for political purposes when we were talking about trans girls in sports, which just happened 2 months ago. Also, most of these kids just do this on their own. They're speaking for themselves and out of free will, and a lot of their parents are proud. That's what that is. As far as this other situation, we had a conversation in the pre-meeting about the Diversity Commission appointments. I have gotten more information about that. I do understand maybe there wasn't some education. It seems like there's some confusion about whether I was able to move into the position. I do want to be very clear, and Ms. Dunlao, I apologize if you did inform people, or if Ryan informed people, or if whoever informed the council that I was eligible tonight to be moved from an alternate position into a voting position. What I will say is that it is really comfortable for everyone to come to me and say, what a good job I did, how hard I worked, how powerful of a speaker I am, how important I am to this community, until it comes to just having the like basic general respect of like allowing me to have a vote on a commission that I've been on for a long time. That community festival wouldn't exist if it wasn't for me. And I just hope that everyone understands when I come with passion, it's because I'm exhausted by always getting stomped on by people who don't have the guts to say things to my face, but then use their power from the dais to cause me harm. At the end of the day, Dara Mandeville will hopefully concur. We are all community members here, and we get along at the basic level, even when we don't agree on things. But I think that as a council, you need to consider humanity when you make decisions. Humanity when you make decisions, the same way we all do. Have a good night.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you for all you do. Betty Taylor. And then we've got the group of five.
Good evening. My name is Betty Taylor. I hope everybody can hear me. I just can't shake this like the Religious Freedom Day, or that was like at the last council meeting. So basically, I'm just going to exercise my freedom. Okay. Whew. Okay, and this is what this is. It's just a prayer. It says, I'm going to read it. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for the United States of America and for our freedom, liberties, and rights we enjoy as citizens of this blessed country. Help the people of our nation to cherish these freedoms and never take them lightly. I thank you for the freedom of religion, the press, the assembly, speech, the right to bear arms, and all the other rights and liberties I enjoy as a citizen of this great country. May the people of America never abuse any of these rights and privileges of citizenship, and help each of us, Father, to always do our part to keep our country good and strong. Lead us in paths of righteousness for your name's sake. Righteousness exalts the nation. Without righteousness, there is no freedom. So we decree freedom over America. When you give freedom to your children, we are set free indeed through Jesus Christ. Let your mercy be upon America, O Lord, according as we hope in you. Stay your hand of judgment from our land, Lord, for there are still many righteous citizens who are faithful to you, and there are still many lost that need to be saved. You said that blessed is a nation who makes you their God. Hear the prayers of your people and bring revival to our land. Impart your blessings through this generation to all generations yet to come. Heavenly Father, I ask you to bless the latter days of America even more than the former days. And I read this and it just stuck with my heart. And when I think about that, I thought about the freedom, the Religious Freedom Day. And then I was reading this and just hit my heart. And I thought about National Day of Prayer, which is coming up. And then I thought about how the city of Federal Way, we used to have prayer breakfasts. So I'm hoping that National Day of Prayer, which is coming up, I really hope the city can get together and do something. I mean, really, as a city, we just need to come together in prayer, because this nation needs prayer. We all need it. And that's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Betty. All right, now we've got Noni Amin, Kinsey Phillips, Gianni Young, Chloe Holt, Emmanuel Ihungi? I couldn't quite make out the last name. And it's for 5 minutes.
Okay. Hello, my name is Noniamine Kinsey Phillips. I am 15 years old and currently a sophomore in high school. We would like to talk about the safety in schools. With everything going on in the world, we want to make sure that students' rights are safe. We want to know how the city intends to protect us against ICE. How are students supposed to go to school and focus on schoolwork, knowing our friends, classmates, and neighbors' freedoms and even their lives are in jeopardy? How will you protect us when they come to our schools? Are we safe at school? How will you protect the youth from the oppression and violence? The youth have loud voices and we want to use them. It is our right to do so.
Hello, my name is Gianna Young. I'm 16 years old, and I am also a sophomore in high school. It seems like the more time that goes by, the more students are becoming angrier. That anger is shown by more fights and calls of distress on social media. This anger isn't new, it's a buildup from daily mistreatment and from no one showing any care for the youth. We ask that children are shown that they are safe, shown that they are cared for, and shown how our voices are heard.
Hi, my name is Emmanuel Mwangi and I'm a 14-year-old and a current freshman at Federal Way High School. These days, students have felt unheard, unseen, and not safe at all, and one of this reasons being ICE. Me personally, I've seen my friends go to online school and stop coming to school simply because they're afraid of their own safety. And as Fed being one of the most diverse schools in the whole nation, how does the council plan on making us feel more safe?
As students, we just would like to make sure that all our safety is protected. We want to make sure our peers are protected, our staff is protected, our neighbors are protected, and we would like you as our city council to do anything you can to help protect and support us.
Hello, my name is Chloe Holt. I'm 15 years old and I'm a freshman in high school. First, I would like to thank Council President Martin Moore for inviting us to this event, and also BSU as a whole for opening my horizon to opportunities to speak for my community and peers. And a great thank to Ms. Ash for giving us the confidence to come up here and speak. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. Chief, can you talk about what the parameters with which we're operating under now and the safety at Federal Way Public Schools? And I do want to let everybody know, I spoke with when I saw that flyer today, I did talk to the superintendent today, had a conversation with her about this very issue, and the safety of every student and every member of our community is paramount. But Chief, I know we've talked about this a bit, we talked about it at the retreat. Can you talk about safety in our community and our schools?
Sure. The city, the Federal Way Police Department has a strong partnership with Federal Way Public Schools. We have 5 school resource officers assigned to the school that works closely with 11 full-time security officers that are employed by the school district. In terms of, I think they're alluding to the immigration.
Yeah.
I want to let you and the community know that the city and the Federal Way Police Department fully complies with the Keep Washington Working Act. We do not our department doesn't conduct any immigration enforcement. So we simply don't have the capacity. We've never done immigration enforcement, and we just fully comply with the state law in that regard. So, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, well, thank you again for coming. Anna Patrick, and then Dara Mandeville.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to say a few things about the that's the wrong one. The Booker House. So I saw that it opened, and it looked like an exciting time for our city. Many of us have been wondering when that was going to open because we do need those types of services, and I'm sure that there will be many people that receive some benefits or help from the facility. I have seen the research on permanent supportive housing And if you look at it objectively, there are some individuals that will benefit. And I hope that we will protect the community, the shopping areas, the nearby neighborhoods, and look out for those areas of our city, and figure out what we're going to do about the ones that are more impactful, and have a plan for some of the more difficult situations that we encounter. And hope that it can be made transparent to all of us, the success stories and the challenges and what's being done about it. And I would like to just share a few noticings since it opened. There were 20 drug addicts in front of the Safeway one day. There was a call made, wasn't me, but we observed the activity. There was a call made to the police department. Officers responded quickly. I was happy about that. And they were moved along, which means they go somewhere else in our city. And let's see, there were lots of people hanging around the bus stops all of a sudden. It had gotten really quite more livable in our city over the last year. And this was a striking difference since this opened. So I don't know, I saw officers going through periodically. It's going to draw on our services in our city. I'm sure that's going to be an impact. I was happy to see that our officers were responding. Thankful about that, and it was helpful. I did notice a lot of the individuals moved along were hanging around in the King County Library property, so I'd like the city to let us know what we can do about that. And I did notice that the neighborhoods behind were safe, and I didn't see any activity that I was concerned about, and kids were out playing, and that was good to see. So I just wanted to let everybody know what I noticed, and I hope it's a success. We all want it to be. And thanks for helping to keep our city safe, and I hope it doesn't take too much. Thank you. Bye.
All right, thank you. Dara Mandeville.
Good evening. Allison, yes, I agree with you. I have to give you crap for calling me Dara and not Dara, but I'll let it slide. It's okay. Jim did it for like 4 years, so you're good. And I just moved my notes. Okay, two quick things. The first thing, actually, Anna just touched on it a little bit. I know that you guys are tired of hearing us because we've been up here for the last 4 years talking about what is now the Booker House, and I'm really glad that something is finally open in our city. I'm a little bit concerned. I actually went on today just to see. There's 6 separate posts on different Federal Way community groups about the increase in shopping carts and people hanging out at the Lembecker Law Office. We've spoken to them before, not real thrilled. So I was just wondering, I know a couple meetings ago, right after the transit center, the light rail opened in the new transit center, that Chief Huang said something about an increase in SOU officers there. And so I'm wondering if maybe until things kind of get figured out, if maybe we can allocate some resources there. Because I know there's tons of kids in Uptown Square, tons of them. And that's my concern, is the kiddos. So just that. And then the other thing is I just wanted to remind our council about the Public Records Act. It's RCW 40.14-010. Deleting public posts on social media and records actually violates the retention laws. So we probably shouldn't put stuff out there and then try to delete it to pretend it didn't happen. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any other public comments? All right, thank you. Chief, go back to the, I'm not quite sure we finished this sentence there. And for the young people that spoke today, we've had to my understanding, there's been no ICE activity in Federal Way?
That's correct, Mayor. Up to this point, we've not had a immigration custom enforcement operation that we're aware of. So, yes.
And to my understanding, they would, when federal authorities come into our jurisdiction to serve a search warrant and to conduct, don't they normally do some deconflicting to make sure there's not any sort of agency on agency conflict?
They do generally do that. I know with the FBI, DEA, we always get information about their operations so that we know they're in town. Because the relationship is so strained between the state and the federal government in terms of immigration enforcement, I can't say with certainty that they would notify us, but certainly in the past, they've notified us because they want to deconflict and not have a conflict with the local law enforcement agency. So when we've had reports of immigration custom enforcement activity occurring in our city, it's up to this point, it's been unfounded. Another jurisdiction, Tacoma, came in and did a surveillance operation, and was our special investigations unit officers that were conducting an operation that were potentially, alerting the police department's ICE operation. But again, in those couple of those incidences were unfounded. So to my knowledge, to this point, we've not had a single ICE operation in Federal Way.
All right, thank you very much. Council President?
Thank you so much. I just want to say to the students, thank you for coming. Thank you for speaking up. Thank you for advocating. I know it's not an easy thing. It's not. I know you guys are nervous. I know you guys are scared. I saw it when I met with you guys. And I just really want to give you guys a shout out to you guys for that. I do have a question for the chief here, and that's, so I'm aware that ICE cannot go into the schools. Is that correct?
Even nationwide, I wouldn't say that they're not able to, but I'm not aware of a single incident regionally, even across the country where an ICE operation has actually occurred on school grounds. So I could be wrong, but certainly not in this state of Washington.
Okay, so obviously, and I know the schools are being proactive and very careful and thoughtful about that whole process. I think what I'm hearing are the students are scared because what if ICE does come to the schools? What if they come outside of the schools and ICE is there? What's going to happen? Who's going to protect them? And I think that deserves a voice and it needs to be heard. And I know that I've told our students that there's only so much we can do within the laws.
Well, let me just say that federal law enforcement officers are not going to just uniformly attack students. I think the most important thing, and this is the message that needs to be sent from the city of federal government, not to encourage anyone to interfere with the lawful operations of law enforcement officers. If law enforcement shows up especially if it's federal law enforcement, we don't want to send any encouragement for people to get in the way of their operations, to impede, obstruct. The city of Federal Way will not do that, and we're not encouraging any members of the public, or certainly not students, to do that. If you don't interfere with any official operations, there is not going to be any issue. So I just want to make sure that's clear, that we're engaging into a territory in which people are being encouraged to willfully disobey the orders of police officers. That is unwise in the extreme. So that's the final word on that. Let's move on to the consent agenda. These items have gone through committee and can be passed all at once. After I read them, I'll ask whether an item wants to be pulled for separate consideration. Item A, minutes for the January 20th, 2026 City Council special meeting and regular meeting. Item B, the minutes for the January 24th, 2026 City Council special meeting, the retreat. Item C, the AP vouchers and payroll vouchers, November 1st through 30th of this year. Item D, the AP vouchers and payroll vouchers. Item E, monthly financial report, December 2025. Item F, the interlocal agreement for the 2026 FIFA World Cup Mutual Aid Interlocal Agreement between the City of Renton and the City of Federal Way. Item G, contract Makers Agriculture and Urban Design LLC for development of Federal Way 3D model using Community Economic Revitalization Board, or CERB, grant funds. Item H, resolution to authorize an interfund loan for the former Target property. Council, after reading all those, do we have any items? Council members, Honda?
Thank you. I'd like to pull item H, authorize an interfund loan for the former Target property.
Okay, item H is pulled. Council, any other items to be pulled for separate consideration? All right, Council President, do you have a motion with respect to A through G? Council President, do you have a motion?
Sorry.
Items A through G.
I don't have that sheet in front of me. I don't have that thing.
It's the consent agenda. Keep going, go back one page, go back 2 pages. Right there. And then, one more page, go forward, go forward. Okay, there we go. Underneath H, underneath H.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve of the consent agenda items A through
G.
G.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Worried me there for a second, Council. It's like, okay. All right. It's been moved and seconded to move items A through G for approval. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Matters are approved unanimously. Councilmember Honda.
Thank you. So at the FedRock meeting, we discussed the resolution to authorize an interfund loan for the former Target property. And we currently have an interfund loan there that was due to be paid back in November. And so anytime as a council that we approve something such as a loan, I think that we should explain it to the public as to why we're doing it.
Absolutely.
That's why I pulled it.
Yep, and thank you for doing so. As soon as I heard that you were going to do that, I thought absolutely, we should have, on something, especially on something that big, we probably just should have put it on business anyway. And so, Council President, next time we have something like that, we'll try to remember to, that's the kind of thing we want to make sure it has transparency because of the long history on it. Council President, do you have a motion with regard to item H?
Oh, we're going to have Steve explain it.
Oh, okay, great, thank
Yeah.
you very much. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Steve?
Thank you. How do I bring up the presentation? I have we brought this item, this agenda item is a resolution, as Councilmember Hanna mentioned. It's a resolution to extend an existing interfund loan that was created in 2022. I brought this presentation to FedRec, and I've taken out the detailed schedule.
Are we able to get it up on, do you have? Oh, okay,
I just felt it was important to give some details to the public.
and you're right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. At FedRec,
Steve, can we go back a bit?
Yes, sir.
Councilmember Hunt is exactly right. Let me just want to make sure I set the stage. 11 years ago, we bought the property right next. Are you going to get into this? Or is that part of your
Go right ahead.
presentation?
Go right ahead.
Go ahead. Well, it's important just to set the tone. This is the former Target property. So sometimes you see slides on a screen and it may not have, this is the former Target property. We bought this property in 2014, in November of 2014, and it was a big deal at the time, still a big deal. But this is what this is about. This is the now empty property that was the former Target property. I want to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about before we just start throwing numbers on the screen. Steve?
Thank you, and I think you're right. I think it was 2014. I think my slide might be off a year. I've gone through our audited financials because I want to tell the financial story to the financial picture that we're at right now. As you mentioned, the city did purchase the original property for $8.2 million. The original loan was 1.5%, very low interest rate, but it was interest only through 2017. In 2017, we paid down the debt that we had, partially from the sale of one of the pieces of the property, and then we financed at 2.2%. Again, interest only for a few years, and I think in both instances, we fully expected the property to eventually be sold, but in 2019, we started paying down the loan. Now, this shows principal payments. We started actually paying down the principal of the loan, which meant that we started actually paying for the property to start extinguishing the debt. There was a balloon payment that was due in 2022, and at that time, we paid off that was with a bank with Key Bank, and we paid that off. And at the time, we decided that the smartest thing to do, the way to best serve our taxpayers, would be to exercise an interfund loan, paying ourselves interest, paying a different fund of the city the interest rather than paying it externally to a bank. Now, I think we've talked about in the past that we generally have a guideline of a 3-year limitation for an interfund loan. Well, why is that? It is not a state statute. There are no state statutes. There is nothing in city code that says interfund loans have to last 3 years. It's the state auditor that has a guideline. And in the box of text down at the bottom of this slide, I've got the exact quote from their guideline. But really, essentially, what they're saying is that when they audit our financial statements, they need to state an opinion that our financials are stated fairly. They're vigilant to whether a city uses taxpayer money the way it must be used or how we've told our taxpayers that we intend to. Interfund loans are perfectly acceptable, but they're intended to be temporary. So what the auditor is looking for, they're looking to be vigilant to see if we are doing any kind of a permanent diversion of what is otherwise restricted funds. In this situation, we just need to have a rationale for extinguishing the interfund loan at some point, and it needs to be a reasonable explanation. When auditors review our financial statements, they'll look at the city council's resolution, for example, to express the city's intent. And what is actually our intent? 5 facts that we didn't have 5 years ago. The underlying property values have increased 12 out of 13 years. Only in 2023 did property values go through a correction. Second thing is that we always anticipated that the Sound Transit Station would open, and now it has, in fact. And now we have an executed agreement with the developer, which includes purchasing the property. We've also demolished the building, the old Target building, reducing it to a vacant lot. That eliminates the demolition cost. And we've also created a tax increment area that includes this property. So the city's taken several steps, and there's been quite a few new things that have occurred around this property. I think, as you know, staff has been in communication with the developer, and as they've reported to you, City Council, the developer has been navigating the economy, and they continue to state that they intend to purchase the property by January 2027, as laid out in the terms of the agreement. My biggest problem is we don't have $5 million. We don't have it on hand. We don't have it spendable over the next 2 or 3 years where we want to pay it down if we wanted to just decide that we wanted to keep the property. So our intent still is to extinguish the interfund loan through the sale of the property. And our options are really straightforward. We either need to extend the interfund loan or we need to seek an external bank loan. We earn 3.8% on our own money, so we can pay ourselves that rate, and a bank would charge us for an external loan just a little bit higher, 4.1%. At the FedRec committee last week, I showed amortization tables for 4 scenarios, and they're in the staff memo for if anybody wants to look at those. However, at this time, the best option for the city and the best stewardship of taxpayer money is to not pay interest to a bank if we could just use the interfund loan option, which keeps the money within the city. So this slide summarizes everything into 3 main points. While we need to adjust for current rates, paying internally instead of externally serves our taxpayers. The rationale contained in the resolution provides documentation for the state auditor of our actual intent, which is not to permanently divert restricted funds, but it is to sell the property to the developer that we have an executed agreement with. And thinking worst case and long term, where we do want to give ourselves a little wiggle room, some contingency for the time to secure a bank loan in 2 years if that's what we end up doing. So staff recommends approval of this current resolution.
Hey, Councilmember Honda.
Thank you. I certainly agree. I certainly hope that Trent comes through in January. They were the developer that I thought was the best for the city. They have good plans for the property, and then we can take care of this as soon as that happens. So can I go ahead and make a motion?
Council President, did you have a?
I have a motion, but.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Do you want to make the motion, or do you want?
Okay, I'll do it. I move to approve item H on the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approval of item number H?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item 6, council business. This is item A, appoint the Steel Lake Management District Advisory Committee positions. And let's see here. Councilmember Sessoms, do you have a motion?
I move to appoint the following candidates to the Steel Lake Management District Advisory Committee. Should I list them?
Yes, please.
All right. Number 1, Jeremy Benson to position number 1 for a term to expire on December 31st, 2027. For position 2, Bruce Myers for a term to expire on December 31st, 2027. For position 3, Kenneth Stark for a term to expire on December 31st, 2027. Position 4, Shea Aches to position number 4 for a term to expire December 31st, 2027.
All right, is there a second? Second. There's been a motion, a second to, thank you, Councilmember. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those individuals pass unanimously. Item B, Diversity Commission appointments. Councilmember Sessoms.
I move to appoint the following candidates to the Diversity Commission. For position number 6, Carmen Gloria Caleb, for a term to expire on May 31st, 2028. For position number 7, Ron Walker, for a term to begin on June 1st, 2026, and expire on May 31st, 2029. For position number 8, Donna Arnold, for a term to begin on June 1st, 2026, and expire on May 31st, 2029. For position number 9, Ayanna Freeman, for a term to expire on May 31st, 2029.
Second.
There's been a motion, a second to confirm those individuals that have been identified and named. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, they are confirmed unanimously. All right, item C, the federal legislative agenda. We've got Meredith Neal, Economic Development Director, Luke Sullivan, federal lobbyist, and Rick Agnew, our federal lobbyist. Welcome, Rick and Luke. Great to see you. Thank you so much. And Meredith, you want to maybe set us off? And
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Meredith Neal. I'm the Economic Development Director here at the city. Tonight, our consulting team from Van Ness Feldman is here to review the proposed federal legislative priorities. Luke Sullivan will be giving the presentation, and Rick Agnew is joining us as well and is available to answer any questions. I'm now going to pass it over to Luke.
there you go.
Thank you very much.
Luke.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Council President, and other members of council. It's great to be back with you and see so many familiar faces and new faces, and I really look forward to working with everybody over the course of the next year. So to start us off, we're bringing up the city's federal legislative priorities. And so this is the time of the year when we start to prepare for your trip to Washington to engage directly with your federal delegation and highlight key priorities for the city while they start to address the federal appropriations. I know we actually just today wrapped up FY26, and we can discuss that in a moment. But when they start to discuss CDS requests for earmarks for FY27. And so just a quick overview of what we'll be discussing, but to get right into it, what we always look at when we start to identify these projects is we work with the incredible staff here that you have at the city to hear about projects that need to be addressed in the coming fiscal year. And we start to align that with the federal delegation's priorities over the past year and see, if you will, pet projects of both the senators and Congressman Smith, of areas that we can find alignment to try to receive federal funding to help move the needle to get some of these projects done quicker or on schedule as the city had imagined. And so when we look at all of those factors, one thing we really need to take into consideration is the current state of political affairs in Washington. And so one thing we discussed last year with the incoming administration was this key turn that President Trump was expected to bring in when we were up and discussing this. It was only a matter of weeks into Trump 2.0. And we had an idea of where the president might go, but we weren't exactly 100% sure. And now 1 year into it, pretty much everything that we had highlighted in the previous year has been pretty much where we thought it might be. And this president, as he had brought up on the campaign trail, is truly trying to reshape the federal, reshape Washington and the agencies there and how their budgets work, how their staffing works. And so that was something we took into consideration when we were making requests last year, and something that really came into focus this year when we had a better understanding of how that might work. So just as a quick overview, as well as we don't expect anything to change despite there being a very slim majority in the House for Republicans that just got even tighter this week with a special election being held down in Texas, giving Republicans just 1 seat majority in the House. We expect them to continue controlling the House for the remainder of the 119th Congress, as well as the White House and the Senate. And so that was something that we'll circle back to too when we start to talk about our funding priorities for 2027. And so when we look at the priorities here, one of the first ones that we wanted to address was such a big deal that FIFA World Cup is coming to Seattle. And one area that we've touched on previously in funding requests was bringing forward the money to redo and turn the celebration fields into turf fields. And so that's one area that we want to continue requesting money, given the circumstances with FIFA coming in. We think that it has a chance to kind of spark excitement for our federal delegation and be an area that we can really hit home given the climate and what's going on. As well as an area that we saw the federal delegation have substantial interest, as well as working with the incredible staff that you have here in the city and really getting to know them a little bit better and understand what really needed to be done. And transportation seems to be a shovel-ready project. And so one thing that we need to consider when we're asking for funding is that this president continues to test the authorities of the office of the president, and that can freeze money, that sometimes can move money around in ways that at first we weren't sure it was legally able to do, and see that play out in the courts. So when we request money, we do want to make sure that it's something that if we are getting or given it, that we can get it out the door and into the city's hands as quickly as possible before something could change in Washington. And so that brings us to our second primary ask here, which would be the City Center Access Project. And so that's something that's already underway in the city, and it gives a great opportunity to advance a major transportation project here in the city, as you're all aware, and economic development initiatives to improve access and circulation to the city center by reconstructing, expanding connections to Interstate 5. And so after meeting with the team here at the city, if we were to hypothetically get that money tomorrow, it's something that could be used right away. And just highlighting that even further, that part of it when you get the money is that you're going to have to go through different hurdles like NEPA, as well as getting approval from the Federal Highway or other Federal Highway Administration, or depending on the project, some other branch to make sure that you're up to code with everything. This project already has those approvals. So it really, truly is something that the city has highlighted, or staff at the city has highlighted as a priority, and could be something that could really get underway as soon as money is appropriated. This is just more information. So with both these requests, I think I skipped over it, was with the turf fields, we suggest requesting, again, $2 million. With the transportation project, we recommend requesting $5 million to both sets of the delegation. And so for members that were here last year or the years prior, you might notice that it's down to 2 requests this year. And that kind of builds off of the idea here that we have been selected by our delegation 3 years in a row, and receiving another request would make it 4 years in a row now, which I think it has a lot to say that we have been selected. When you guys come to Washington, how well you advocate for your city, and you make a really strong case to your federal delegation, and they're clearly listening to you. But just to keep in mind that when you're working with, for example, Representative Smith's office, he probably receives somewhere around 500 to 1,000 requests a year, and about 15 to 18 are selected. And so it's a very competitive process that the city has done pretty well in over the last few years. And to keep our requests narrow this year, targeted at areas that we really see an opportunity, we would really be able to do good with the money if we were to get it right away, would be highly recommended. And just to give a brief overview here of what we were talking about, again, is the $2 million request for the turf fields. And then what we like to do as well is prepare an appendix for the federal delegation of areas that when we are in these meetings and we make our first request, is we talk about other areas that we are not exactly requesting funds for right away. And this keeps it on, and we create a beautiful handout for staff to leave on their desks that I'm sure come up and they're able to look at again when they're going through the selection process. And it's just something that can keep us at the top of the delegation and their staff's minds. That we're not exactly requesting funds right away, but it's a project that could come down the line, whether it be next year or the year after, where the city might not be 100% ready for funds yet, but it's an area that we want to either be, if there's grant funding that is appropriated at some point or opened up, that a staffer might remember that they had a conversation with a member of council or the mayor of Federal Way, and flag that for us. Or when we come in a year later and it has been moved along, they remember that this is something that we've been working on a long time. And so we have 2 other transportation projects that the city staff has flagged as being kind of top priority, but not quite there yet to make it to that narrowed, slimmed request section that we're trying to target this year. And so the first one is the Triangle Project, and the second one is the Gateway Project. And so they're laid out in more detail in the memo that council has received, and kind of lays out what phase of construction they're in and what areas of the city they would help relieve congestion or improve. And so just quickly as well, too, before we wrap up, and I can open up to any questions that the council might have or the mayor might have, is just our history, if you'll see it up there. We've received $850,000 for the TC3 project. This is money that we got in FY24 that we're still working with HUD to release the funds and get that helping in the right direction of expanding that project. In FY25, and it was kind of an issue, I think it was brought up earlier in this meeting when we were meeting with Senator Murray's office last year and where she might be at that time. She's a top appropriator. And I believe they were still negotiating issues for funding of the previous year, where if you'll remember, we operated under a continuing resolution that expired just before the latest, or actually not the latest, but the longest government shutdown that we just came out of. And because of that, we lost our request in 25 to do the work that was needed at the community center. However, in 26, that was actually signed by the president today. Our request for $250,000 for the day center relocation project was included in the bill. It cleared the Senate and was back into the House and then over to the president and signed into law today. So the next steps with that lot of money will be working with HUD again to start the application process and prove that we have the necessary abilities to accept that funding, to do the work that is laid out in the law that was passed. So again, just highlighting our considerations for 2027 as before, we put it to questions and a vote, is just remembering that we have received multiple years of this. We are trying to target our request this year for specific projects, keeping it tighter, and that moving forward into future years, we can expand that. But this year, with the tight margins, political uncertainty, and a track record of overwhelming success in this area, we should tread with just a little bit of caution and really hit specific issues home.
All right, council members, any questions? Councilor Kuchma?
Well, thank you very much, Luke. I appreciate that. I just want to reiterate that I think I've talked before in the council about it took us 7 years to get $12 million from the federal government. That was the first part of the Triangle Project, which is the big interchange over by Costco. So we've done half of the Triangle Project. We want to do the other half heading to the east. And so I realize it takes a long time. Appreciate all of the work that you've been doing. And would you say, with Congressman Smith saying that he gets 500 applications and that he only funded 10 to 15, that the fact that we have a strong delegation going helps in that regard?
Absolutely. It's showing up in Washington, advocating for yourself and for your city is one of the best ways to really put yourself out there and be seen by people. And I know the congressman comes back here plenty of times, but sometimes when you go to Washington, making sure to remind them what his home district needs, hearing you, seeing that you take that trip out there, sitting down and having that intimate conversation with him that we have every year, and really talking about where the city's been and where you want to bring it, really keeps it at the top of mind for him as well as staff. And I think really hits home and makes sure that, for 3 years and hopefully 4, we're in that smaller pile of requests that get selected.
So thank you. And I think all 7 council members are going again this year. So Mayor, could you have Bill think of some kind of a picture or something we can take again this year, to maybe a picture of half of the triangle, or a picture of the day center, or something so they know what we're asking for the money?
Very good. Since Meredith has done great work. Luke, thank you very much. Great job.
Thank you.
And Meredith, can you make sure, I think you're going to DC with the delegation.
Yep, yeah, and this
Yeah.
morning, Luke and Amy and I had a meeting, and we were talking about the handouts and that sort of thing, so we certainly will be preparing something that highlights each of those projects and each of those asks and has some imagery to go along with it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Councilmember Honda?
Well, I'd like to thank Meredith and Amy for all the work they did last year to get us ready to go. I think, Meredith, were you with us last year? No, okay, I'm sorry, but we were thinking of you. I know Amy did a lot of work on that project. So with the money for the day center, that means that we can spend it, we have it, we can move forward with it? No.
Not yet.
Oh,
So
okay.
what it means is through that, we make a request, and those portals will open sometime in the spring. I know it's hard to wrap your hand around that we just completed it literally today. And actually, if you are thinking about, there is one appropriations bill that is still operating under a CR because of some political issues that have come up with it. Specifically, that's the Department of Homeland Security appropriations bill, but we really have no stake in that. But so we open up, we submit these applications, we talk about it with the federal delegation when you come. When their portals open, myself and the great staff here at the city work together to fill out those and submit them. Then around sometime in the summer, usually around the summer, there is no hard timeline for that, we'll hear if we are selected. And then if we are, they'll start the process, and government funding, usually everything's funded until October-ish. In recent years, because of tight majorities and political differences, it has not been a very smooth process. But as you'll see, remember in 2025, they operated under a CR for the entire year. This year, it was all kind of ran out in October. We were in a government shutdown till November. They just passed the bill today. So after that, DA, the government will instruct, in this case, $250,000 to be spent for the issue that we had sent the application for. I will then work with the staff of this city as well as the HUD, Health and Human, Housing and Urban Development, that will have another application. And so that process is lengthy. We have to make sure that we're submitting a budget, showing that the money is being spent for exactly what we told Congress it would be spent on, and they will release funds to us in that time. But that time is unknown.
So do we have to show what we would spend the money on again?
So they have an idea that it will be on the day center.
Right.
And so what we will need to do is
On moving the day center?
Yes, and so what we will do is we will put together a budget and say with that $250,000, I believe we're moving it to the Red Lion Inn or Hotel. We'll show with that $250,000, we plan to do X, Y, and Z with it.
Okay.
And at that point, they'll release the funds.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Good to see you again.
You as well.
All right, Councilmember Hamilton?
Thank you for that report. It is good to hear that we've been so successful with securing federal funding. That's really good to hear. I might have missed it, but was there a slide saying that we're receiving federal funding for the city center access project? Did I see that correctly?
No, that is what we are saying we should ask for this year.
Okay,
And
what
so
we're
we
asking.
put together
Okay.
two top priorities. And in previous years, it'd been a little bit more expanded, and because of the success and just the political uncertainty around everything, we've narrowed it down to two, working with the city, and the top priority is that project. And so we're working with the city to put together a handout with some of the information that was on the slide tonight, as well as in the memo, that members of staff in Washington can easily digest, understand what we're asking for, and when we submit our application, have it be at the top of the mind for them so that hopefully we do see funding for that.
Okay, thank you.
And then you might have also seen on that slide that we have received $30 million in state funding that's committed through 2032 for the city center access project, so.
Okay, well, we're chipping away at it.
And I-
Do we have any extra appeal, being that the name of our city is Federal Way? Just curious.
We can try.
It's been working.
Just throw it out there.
And I just want to highlight for any confusion that this is for FY20, even though the year is 26 now, for FY27. We're receiving money in FY26 for the Day Center project.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, Council President Moore, do you have a motion?
Yes. Oh, God. This one right here.
Yeah.
I move approval of the proposed 2026 federal legislative priorities.
Is there a second?
Second.
I second.
Been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, it's been moved, seconded, and there's been a good amount of questions and no further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Matter passed unanimously. Once again, Luke and Rick, thank you. Meredith, great job. Thank you
for your
so
time.
much.
Good to see you all.
All right, thank you. Okay, now we're on item D. This is to, about the resolution for the 2026 fee schedule. We've got Steve Groom, our finance director, who'll give a presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. We come to City Council pretty much annually to talk about the fee schedule, and I bring this graph almost always to our FedRec meeting, largely because we're watching mortgage rates and how it's going to affect our real estate excise tax. But inflation really governs a lot of the costs of the city, the cost of every program that the city delivers. So I think we're all familiar with the fact that we've been about under 3% inflation for 2.5 years. Prior to that, we had some significant inflation, which really set prices everywhere on a much higher trajectory. And so that explains a lot of the fee increases that the city typically brings because we're trying to keep our fees in line with our costs. At FedRec, we talked about the fees in the construction permits, land use, and the community center's residential membership. Those are largely tied to inflation. There was a new fee category for damage inspection fee that we haven't had before, but that's for work that our building inspectors do. And I think, Councilmember Hamilton, you were the one that spotted that there was a permit renewal that we said was going to be going away, and you were absolutely right. It should not be removed. The code amendment is still going to LUTC. So with your approval, we will make that correction to the underlying fee schedule. I have a sample fee schedule page, and what it shows is in all of the fees that we always bring, we always show what the fee is, what the current 2025 fee was, and what the proposed 2026 fee. And as it happens, that one fee that we had marked discontinued really just needs to stay as it was. Beyond that, I am going to step aside because we had quite a few questions pertaining to the community center that were better answered by somebody who knows the actual program. So I'm going to hand off to Leif Ellsworth, if you would.
And Leif is the community center manager.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Hopefully, this may not be the most feel-good presentation I've ever given up here, but I haven't broken anything, so luckily I'm not coming to you tonight asking for more money. But hopefully I can provide some context and some proposed, on our proposed 2026 fee adjustments at the community center, kind of explain why we need to make adjustments, what it's being considered, and kind of how it aligns with our operations, our costs, and community access to the center. And so hopefully we will show you guys comparable rates to some of our competitors, the amenities, and the access to our regional peers, and some of those people that we compete against, and then show how we are committed to access, the value, and our cost recovery goals at the community center. So there's going to be a lot of numbers that we go through tonight, so feel free to stop me, digest these numbers. Hopefully you guys have been able to take a moment to look at some of these together, those numbers, and compare them against each other. In 2016, we implemented a fee increase for our membership fees at the community center and did not do another fee increase until 2021. So right after COVID, after we reopened the doors, realized that a lot of our cost increases had been occurring to some of our supplies and such. And so for the next several years, we did cost increases up until 2025. In 2025, we were obviously shut down for our locker room renovation, and at council's direction, we decided not to do a fee increase at the community center. So those historical increase ranges between 4% and 7% annually. That equates to about $2 to $6 per month, depending on whichever membership category you're looking at. And so those proposed 2026 increases are about $7 to $11 a month. So while the number seems extreme when you see a 16 to 18% increase, we are staying consistent with that kind of the model of between that 4 to 7%, but it's obviously compounded over the past 2 years, and hoping that we can make up some of that ground that we did not have for 2025. There we go. Our kind of target operation at the community center is to live in that range of about an 85% cost recovery. And so fee adjustments are required for us to continue to maintain this level of service. Our primary cost drivers range from staffing, from utilities, supplies, and maintenance at the community center. And so without those adjustments, those service levels may be impacted at the community center. And we want to ensure that we strive to stay open. So as you can see here, I did just a couple of supply costs that we have at the center. But from toilet paper to towels to trash bags to soap and shampoo and all of those things, those costs continue to go up every single year. And as you all know, minimum wage doesn't exactly stay stagnant in Washington, which is great for everyone, but a large part of our workforce is part-time folks. And so, as you can see here, minimum wage has increased significantly over the last couple years, and that has impacted our operation tremendously. Right here, as you can see, these are some of our capacities and hours at the community center. You guys have had meetings over there. You might come and work out sometimes. Sometimes it's really hard for you to get a parking spot over there. So what we do is take kind of a 2-hour window of time, and we break that down into capacity and scans that come into the community center. So we really understand what the percentage of use of our center is and understand where kind of those classes should be placed, when we have lulls in the facility and openings. And as you guys can see here at the community center, we average between 1,500 and 2,000 scans through our turnstile per day. And that's huge. That's over 500,000 people that are going through the community center every single year. So we are serving a lot of our residents in the surrounding community. And taking a look at this, when you'll see kind of our membership rates plus our hours of operations, we are open on average about 32% more than most of our competitors. That's taking in a multitude of factors from maybe our pool is open all day at the community center. Other pools might shut down halfway through the day. They might take breaks during the day, whether we open at 5 a.m. versus 6 or 7 a.m. or shut down at 8, 9 p.m., whatever time it may be. And so we've prided ourselves ever since we have reopened after COVID. We haven't shut down a single time between that 5 a.m. and that 9 p.m. window that we're typically open. We have stayed open the whole time with all amenities being open to the public. So here are some of those monthly membership rates and comparisons. As you can see, there's obviously a lot of asterisks and a lot of anomalies with each one of these facilities here. So these were just some of our most like-minded competitors that we have. We did an entire list from Freedom Fitness to all of the smaller gyms, as well as kind of the bigger ones that can compare to us with or without pools, with large rental venues and facilities. And so we wanted to take a range of kind of the most common membership categories from the youth and teen, adult, senior, and family. And as you can see here, these are all of our rates compared to the YMCA. We took the Seattle YMCA because Auburn is our nearest competitor for the YMCA, and so those are the figures that you're seeing here. And then Norpoint, LA Fitness, and the Auburn Community Center. The Auburn Community Center does not have a pool. LA Fitness doesn't allow children in their pool during working hours and such. And Norpoint closes their pool down in the middle of the day for several hours a day, every single day. And so we believe the rates that we have and are going to are in line with the amenities and the value that we're offering to the public. Our next slide here is kind of our consumer price index, and as you can see from 2016 until 2026, this shows kind of our rate of inflation and where those fee adjustments and increases have happened. This is a 10-year trend line that shows that essentially we haven't quite kept up with inflation and what it is. And over those 10 years, we have lost about $1.5 million in revenue that could have been if we had continued with consistent fee increases that entire time. These are our day pass rate comparisons, and I apologize I didn't put the chart in there with the actual dollar figures. But if you guys can see on here, this shows our list of amenities and comparisons for each one of those facilities for what we do and do not have, and then shows our rates of comparison. And if you take a look at those, it shows that we are pretty much right in the middle or at the bottom half of comparison for those day pass rates. So there's obviously a lot of caveats with that because each facility has different price ranges for allowing an entire family in versus a single person. and so on. Right here, I think a question you guys had asked was about our rental rates for large venue spaces and small classrooms. This is the most consistent of what we could find with similar square footage and such. And so this chart kind of compares the pricing, the seating capacity, and obviously our competitors and what they have. And so we believe the big things that kind of set us apart were our commercial kitchen, the technology that we have in our large community room sets us apart from places such as North Point or Green River Community College, and that's why we set that price at a premium. Currently, we're renting that space out on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday evening at about a 75% capacity, and that is for a year in advance. So the takeaways from this, hopefully, that you guys take is that we operate about 32% more hours than most of our competitors do. So we are open significantly more, which requires more staffing, more supplies, which obviously costs more money. And that we have no midday closures for any of our facilities or any of our amenities. And we want to be there and support working families, seniors, and youth throughout the day, every single day. And that is all I have for you.
Councilmember Honda?
Thank you. And thank you for coming here tonight to talk to us.
Of course.
So I understand the need for fee increases. But what I am concerned about is that's a lot of money to ask folks to pay, to go to the community center, because their tax dollars are also paying for it if they are Federal Way residents. And, if we're not in a recession now, we could very well be in soon. And people are losing their jobs, housing is expensive, food is expensive. So I'm wondering, to encourage people to stay healthy and to continue going to the community center, if we cut those, down a little bit, is that doable? I suppose it's doable if the council wants to do it, but how would it impact the services at the community center?
I think firstly, it could offer a reduction in classes that we offer to the public, whether it's group exercise or the hours that the center is open. We may have to reduce staffing, which could reduce capacities at the center. We're already bustling at the center, so I would hate to say now we have to reduce capacity in the pools or in the gym or upstairs in our fitness center because we don't have the staffing.
Do you have a slide you could put up that shows what the rate was and what it's proposed to be? Do you have that slide?
I don't think I have that in
Okay, could you?
presentation.
Mayor, I can speak to that real quickly. So if you just take a single adult fee on a monthly basis, last year it was 44, and we're proposing to go to 51.
What's the per day?
It depends on the times they use it per month.
What about a family? What is it?
A day pass fee would cost, right now it's $10. We're proposing that the adult fee goes to $12, but that the youth and the senior rates stay the same.
Which is?
Which is, I believe it's $5 for youth and $6 for seniors.
Per day?
Yes.
So-
If you're on a day pass, not for a membership.
Susan?
Are other centers that do exercises, have exercise classes, and are they increasing their fees right now?
Most generally do, yes. I haven't surveyed them to see if they are increasing this year or the coming years, but this is a normal process that happens throughout every fitness facility that I've ever come into contact with.
16 to 18% it sounds a lot, and it is a lot. Do you anticipate we'll lose members that can't afford to do this?
That's hard to say. I don't believe so. And I think, given the track record that we've had from 21, 22, 23, and 24, that we all had continual rate increases, we never lost a single member over those rate increases or had much consternation over that either.
Those rate increases weren't quite as high,
Sure,
though.
absolutely.
I mean, you talk about 16 to 18%, and it just kind of is in your face, like, oh my goodness.
And that's why I hope people understand that we're looking at the $7 a month or $11 a month, and that may be a little more palatable than the percentage.
You know, and it may not be if you've got a family that's going there, you know, so that's what I am concerned about. All right, thank you. Thanks for being here, I appreciate it.
Of course.
Brian, do you have something?
Yeah, real quickly to the question about, can you put that? What other facilities are, you know, if they're increasing their fees, typically what we see is that trend line with the red one above, a lot of facilities are doing that incrementally each year. We have been a little, we've not increased proportionally, as you can see, and we've done that intentionally. You know, there was a time where we were closed and we had some repairs going on, so we didn't want to raise fees at that time. But this is an attempt to catch up as much as we can without being completely out of market. And so, while others are adjusting each year, this is our time to catch up.
Council, I'd like to, can I make a suggestion? I would actually like to pull this back, and as I actually am very sensitive to the, you know, being raised by a single mom. We all have our backgrounds, we all have our situations. I remember being very, very tight in my household, being raised by a single mom. What I'd like to do is, as I'm hearing this and seeing these numbers, I'd like to pull this back and take another look at it, take a pencil out, and see if I can, see if we can do a little bit better with this, keeping in mind, and, you know, the community center does a phenomenal job, and we love the community center, and you guys are the good news people, but we also have an obligation. We also need to make sure that we've got difficult financial times. I'm not sure this is the right way to go about this, and with your consensus, I'd like to pull this item and let me take another swipe at it, if that's okay.
I agree.
I support that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also agree. I'm wondering, Mayor, if you could also look at one night a month, maybe on a Sunday night, where you could have free swim for families.
I heard about that request, and we'll take a look at it. Yeah, as a son who frequents the community center a great deal, quite a bit, along with his friends as well, we want to make sure this is a facility for everybody. So let's pull this back. Brian, I want you and I to spend some time. I also, John, one of the things I want to do is perhaps the four of us and Steve Groom, what I'd like to do is just take a look at where we're at with as I'm sitting here, I want to take a closer look at the actual fees, where they were, where they are, and also the most important thing is I want to take a look at where our P&L statements are right now with regard to the community center. And, you know, if this is really urgent to keep the doors open, then that's what we're going to do. What this could mean, though, and one of the things why we haven't really looked at is what we've done previously, which is maybe we shave a half hour off of clothing, or you know, closing, or you know, we look at particular days, and we take a look at, because we are open a bit. So I'm going to take a look at this, and with your indulgence, council, and communicate with you, obviously in a non-quorum fashion. But I'd like us to be a little bit more in sync with the population that we serve. Council member?
I love that idea. You know, we put the folks who use the facility through a lot the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And for those who have stayed with us, we need to thank them immensely. But aren't we closing down the lap pool fairly soon?
Potentially, we're working through that right now. We don't exactly have dates or commitments yet, but we do need to replaster the lap pool.
So that's going to be another inconvenience and for those who use it. And hopefully that's not going to turn into the nightmare that we had before with the other pool. But it's still going to be an inconvenience that we're asking people who pay, you know, a fair amount of money to be there and not have the complete services, so.
I had the exact same
so
thought.
thank you.
Thank you. That's same thought as I'm sitting here. Councilmember Coach Meyer?
I'm wondering if there isn't,
Oh, and then-
foundation, we don't seem to reach out to foundations or grants or Puget Sound Energy or some of the folks that normally will donate money, maybe even Kiwanis and Rotary for scholarships, for money to help augment maybe scholarships for kids who, just looking into other kinds of revenue.
Councilmember Sessoms, and then Steve Grimm. Go ahead.
Yeah. I love that idea, tapping into the foundations and other organizations. So I do know that there are private companies out there who have a big concern with keeping their workforce healthy. They will often subsidize fit gym passes for their employees. Do we have any companies?
We do. I forgot to mention that, but we do have subsidized insurance programs that are highly utilized. We also have fee assistance, first step scholarships, swim scholarships for children, for any of our recreation programs and/or membership dues.
Yeah, I just think that it's really high time we think outside of the box. Let's expand the reach to those companies who are willing to pay us as a city to, or pay for the memberships. That would be a source of revenue. Let's expand that program. I believe that you hit the nail on the head, Mayor, when you said times are really tough for a lot of people. I would hate to raise fees, but, let's try and just think outside of the box.
Thank you, Councilmember. Steve?
Mayor, I want to be cautious here. I want to make sure that I hear you clearly because this fee schedule increase, we bring annually, and it's got 14 pages of fees, and typically we increase along with inflation. Community center is only one component. We also have fees that go through Public Works and community development at the permit counter. Is it your preference to hold the community center flat for now and proceed with the other ones, or do you want to pull the whole item?
Yes, what you said. I think this is, the community center is unique. I'm sorry, not to be so definitive, but we're in a council meeting, not my meeting. So, council, I'm going to see if there's consensus to that this is about a sensitivity to the community center as opposed to just the other fees.
But I do have questions on some of the other fees.
Okay. All right, why don't we do that then, Councilmember Honda?
Thank you. So in section 3, construction permits, a permit renewal fee for residential, multifamily, and commercial building permits. The City of Federal Way will no longer provide this service, as Washington State will take responsibility for these permit renewals beginning in 2026. I didn't get an answer to what that was. I don't understand that.
Keith Devon, I believe, has to answer.
All right, everybody's looking at me, so I'll go ahead and answer. So I think what happened is the staff report conflated two different fee discontinuations. So if you look at the proposed fee schedule, there was a discontinuation for permit renewals, and there was a discontinuation for forest practice application. And what this sentence in the staff report, which is connected to the renewals, is actually, I think, more appropriate to the forest practices.
Okay.
Because the idea was that we would no longer locally be doing forest practice reviews, but that state DNR would, and they would collect the fees at the state level. I just think it got conflated in the staff report.
Okay, thank you. And that, I see on the, it says that permit renewal and forest practice permits are going to be removed from this, but we still have it on the agenda. It's an ordinance, and that we have to vote if we're going to take it back to LUTC. So I guess we would have to wait on that too. Okay, thank you.
We're talking about that at management team today, or on Monday. Brian?
Mayor, I don't think it's the end of the world. If we want to take action on the rest of the fee schedule, we can do this by motion tonight, if that's council's will. If we want to take it all back and come back with a fresh copy with modifications, that's also okay. So I just want to make it clear that there is a way forward, even on the forestry thing, even though, you know, it'd be taken out of order, we absolutely can do it tonight if that's what people want to do.
Council, what's your preference? Council President?
It sounds like, if I'm hearing correctly, that we want to hold off on the community center fee schedules. And I'm looking at my colleagues to see, I think there's a consensus on moving forward with the rest.
Well, and the forest practice permits.
Yeah, and the other item that we're going to send back to.
That's the next item over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any other questions other than that? Councilmember Honda, I see your lights on.
No, I'm just wondering if we're doing a motion to, what the motion would be.
Brian?
I would just add to the one I prepared about the forest practices to also say, and to remove any increase in the community center fees.
Okay.
Okay.
Councilmember Honda, you want to make that motion?
Yep.
Okay.
I move to amend the proposed fee schedule to reinstate the $320 fee associated with submissions for a forest practice permit and any increases for the community center.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
It's been a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you so much. And I want, I do want to say, Leaf, number one, thank you for being here. I know you put a full day in, and you're here. The community I think this is one of those things where the community loves the community center. You put together a very good thing, and we just want to make sure, as you know, we want to make sure everybody that can enjoy it. And I think, we just want to make sure that we're truly serving the people that we're all working for.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now on to item 7, ordinances.
I'm sorry, Mayor?
Yes.
We still have the main motion to make.
Oh, okay. So as to the main motion, Councilmember Honda.
I thought that was the main motion. Nope. So the main motion is motion number 1?
I move to approve the fee schedule as amended.
I move to approve the fee schedule as amended. Thank you.
Second.
It's been a motion, a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Matter passed unanimously. Thank you. All right, item A, this is the second reading and enactment, potentially, obviously, of Council Bill 930, ordinance repeal local authority over Class 4 forest practices application. Before we go into all that, Councilmember Hamilton, do you have a motion?
Yes, I do. I move to refer Council Bill number 930, repeal local authority over Class 6 forest applications to LUTC for further discussion.
Second.
All right, and for everybody, that's Land Use and Transportation Committee, so this is a motion to refer this back to committee for a little bit more work. Is there any discussion? There's been a motion, a second. Councilmember Honda?
I would like to know what we would accomplish by sending it back to LUTC.
Okay, so, why don't I ask Councilmember Honda, Councilmember Hamilton first, as the maker of the motion. Any,
Yes, so in regards to, and by the way, I think it's Class 4, not 6. We received a lot of communication, starting with the master builders on this. They have concerns over basically predictability. And not only did we receive a lot of communication and feedback from the master builders, but then other builders started writing feedback letters as well. And so I do think that due to that feedback and the fact that we do want to streamline our permitting, I think it deserves a second look.
Could I ask?
Yeah, of course.
Keith, so when you brought this forward to LUTC earlier, the reason that we wanted to have the state do this was why?
So I will parrot what Councilmember Hamilton said, is council and the builders and master builders are all looking at me to try and make our permitting process more efficient. And so one of the first things, unless you guys are going to give me a lot more staff and Steve keeps telling me that's never going to happen. What I need to do is start looking at what can we stop doing so that we can have additional resources to review permits quicker. And this is about the only thing that there is another agency willing to review these permits, and that's at the state level. And so this is an opportunity to free up permitting staff from doing forest practices permits and doing other permit review, which they would do at that time. So if you're asking me how to use my resources more efficiently, I would say let's stop doing something that somebody else is willing to do. I do not agree that pushing it to the state will make it less predictable. I think it's less convenient, absolutely. But I don't have the resources to be convenient all the time for builders. So that's the elevator speech for what I'll be sharing with you if this goes back to committee.
Thank you for your candor, Brian, and then Brent, and then Council President.
Yeah, just another example of a few years ago where we made the decision to move a function to the state, and that was with our business licenses. And customers love it. There's been no complaints about it, and so that's been much easier on their part to obtain business licenses through the state portal. We still do a minor review, but as far as the processing and where customers go, it's at the state level now, and the feedback's been very positive.
All right, Council
Yeah.
President.
And Councilor Hamilton, thank you for bringing this up and putting it through back to LUTC committee. I think, one of the greatest things about committees is we can dissect things a lot more closely and have more of a fruitful conversation and hear, because they're also open to the public, hear more from the constituencies that this would be affecting, and hear, again, more details. So I think I would certainly encourage for us to take it back. That's why I seconded the motion. And I think that, one of the indications that I'm hearing is people like what we're doing here, some of the stakeholders. And I want to hear more about that. Just have a more in-depth conversation. I think that's the great thing about committees is they allow you to work through things before it gets back to the council. Thank you.
Councilor Hamilton.
Well, thank you, Keith, for your candor as well. I think that's part of the push and pull of being on council is we have to think about the staff and the capacity that staff has, and then we also have to think about the people we serve. And I'm not a big fan of giving up local control, so maybe we can look at both sides of this and try to come up with something that works for everyone.
Okay. Very good. And I'm oftentimes between first and second reading, I was talking to Keith about this earlier today. I think when we first started this, we didn't realize what their concerns were, and we didn't hear about it until after first reading. So I think it does make sense to, oh, you know what, Councilmember Honda, sorry, I forgot.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, I also don't want to give up local control on things either, the thing that could happen down in Olympia this year. But I also think that we need to listen to our staff very carefully, and I don't think that this is going to change in the long run. So we can certainly take it back to LUTC, but I think in the long run, from what I've heard from master builders in my discussions, is that they like the way our permitting is going now. And if this is the way the director of the department has structured permitting so that we can do permitting in a quick and efficient way as we can to improve it. Because what do you hear about Federal Way and building? That permitting sucks here. You hear that. But what I heard was that it's going in a good direction. And if this can make it go into an even better direction, where that we don't hear that anymore, that our permitting isn't great, I think we need to really seriously look at that. So, take it back to committee, but I don't think it will change. I think that we, in the long run, will suggest that we follow the direction of the director of the department.
Okay. I'm going to take just to let council know, I'm going to take an independent look at this myself and consider whether to direct staff to put it to committee first. I do appreciate the builders letting us know these are the individuals that are putting, their capital together to build in our community. So let's I want to be sensitive to that. I need to kind of figure out the contours of this a bit. Like I said, I think we were all, including Keith, this kind of came out of the blue between first and second reading. So I'll take a look. Brian, let's talk about this tomorrow as well, and bring in Keith and talk about whether this is something we want to keep at. If we do, we'll bring it back to committee. Does this direct that it go to committee? So it will go to committee. Okay, all right. So that will happen, but be looking out for a recommendation one way or another from me. All right, there's been a motion, a second, and a discussion. All those in favor of moving this back to committee?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, matter is unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, now we're to council reports. It's the first meeting of the month. We'll start with Councilmember Lydia Assefa-Dawson. Councilmember?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and we had a great meeting, and I don't have anything to report on, so.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you. Councilmember Honda?
Thank you, Councilmember Assefa-Dawson. I hope you feel better. And I just want to thank the council for good discussion tonight, and to and staff for being willing to work with us and help us understand why you suggest the things you do. So thank you very much.
Great. Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes, I have a few things to report on. City Action Days, that was my first time attending, and myself, Councilmember Kochmar, Councilmember Wash, Mayor Farrell, Bill Budino, and myself met with our 30th legislative delegation to share our positions as a city, and it was a very productive conversation. And it's the 60-day short session, so we're kind of on a fast track here. I am, though, very concerned about a couple of bills that are in the legislature right now, particularly House Bill 2489, because that is going to prohibit cities from removing encampments and enforcing their encampment ordinances. It also is going to create a private cause of action. So that concerns me. I did see today, though, that they have amended the term available shelter to include shelter outside of the jurisdiction if there is an interlocal agreement. So that makes it less bad, I guess. But I'll be watching that very carefully. The council retreat was great. I think the fact that we had such a long discussion on transportation, infrastructure, and community development, economic development, just reinstates how important those things are for us to discuss and to have vision on and to move forward. And so I thank Mayor Farrow for letting us have basically an extra hour on that discussion, so for facilitating the extra time needed for that. And then several of us attended the Booker House grand opening. It's been 4 years since that project started, so the taxpayers are finally seeing a return on that investment, and I'm glad to see that. During the tour, we were shown all throughout the building, and I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that people will take advantage of the help that is available, because I think that will be really important for people to, heal their lives. And so I'm hopeful. Today, I took a tour of the new operations and maintenance facility, thanks to Director E.J. Walsh. That was very exciting to see that. That's been a long time coming, and I think our Public Works staff is going to really enjoy that new space. It looks great, and our park staff as well. Looks great, and thank you for all your work on that. And
Great.
that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Sessoms?
I'm also appreciative of attending the Booker House, the celebration. I know the family, Vivian Lee. I met her brother, Harold Booker. Outstanding leader, especially the work that he did with the King County Housing Authority. So I enjoyed being there, and thank you very much for working with the city to make sure that in partnership the project got done. It isn't completed yet, we still have to house the constituents who need that service. So with that said, count me in as a permanent supporter of the Booker House. I'll do everything possible to make sure we provide the resources that you need, the public safety, and address the public safety concerns that the community has. But I do want to go back to what the young people said at the podium during the public comment period. ICE is a real threat. I do appreciate the mayor's sentiments about abiding by the law and respecting authority if a confrontation ever occurred. But I have to go on record as saying I want to validate the young people's fears and concerns. There are overzealous people within ICE. They've conducted recruitment from the ranks of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. There are such a thing as called ICE vigilantes. These are people who are fake ICE imposters going around apprehending people. I have a big concern with that as a black man. I can go on and on for the reasons why I personally have a concern, but I also have children. I have neighbors who look like me. So I just want to go on record as saying that I validate the concerns for the young people out there. They are afraid, and I just have sentiments that hopefully those in the audience and community share. I will work with the mayor, the chief of police, the council president to make sure that our community is safe. But they should know that they cannot go in and do what they did to the gentleman or the young lady in Minneapolis. That is appalling and horrendous. And that's why people are scared. So with that, I'm done.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Kochmar.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Sessoms. So, Mayor, with the Booker House, which is the extended stay, when we were there, the Union Gospel Mission and the county folks were talking about I think they said they were using it as a model for building 20 more across the county. I thought that's what I heard them say, correct? Yeah. So could we get just a periodic report, not maybe quarterly, until they're up and going and we know how they're doing, so people aren't giving us, they're thinking they're seeing things, but they're not, or they're not seeing things, just so we get periodic reports. And
You bet.
it's up to you however you want to handle that. I
Will
just
do.
think we should be kept informed,
Okay.
so it's accurate. And then, thank you all for signing up to go to the National League of Cities. I think that for those of you who haven't been there before, I think it'll be very, very informative for you. And then, Mayor, on the state of the city, Donna Arnold reminded me of this when she was applying for one of the commissions earlier today. You do sign language, don't you, for the state of the city, off to the side sign language?
I couldn't say right. I think there's some accommodation for it, but I'll have to.
Yeah, would you look into, I think that was a really good suggestion, so.
Okay.
And I did go with Councilmember Hamilton to the O&M facility today. Thank you very much, EJ, for taking us through. It was very, very, actually very impressive. So we wish you well, and I hope that it turns out the way everybody hopes it does. It looks, I don't know how far it's done, whether it's 3/4 done or what, but it's looking really great. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Council President Moore.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Sessions, I appreciate what you just shared. I think it's really important that we acknowledge our students and acknowledge their fears. And I've repeatedly have said this, and that's while we are limited and cannot do much, anyway, we have to follow state laws. That doesn't negate us from valuing the voices of our students, because it takes courage. And a lot of them didn't want to come. They didn't think they were going to listen. And the fact that they made that effort and said, yes, I'm going to be here, I think that matters. And I think it's really important that they know that the city hears them. And yes, they need to be absolutely educated that there are certain things we cannot do, and that shouldn't be ignored, absolutely. But it's hard, and it's, Councilor Lydia Salvador shared this very eloquently at the last council meeting. But, again, I'm an immigrant, and I'm going to keep saying that. And it's going to happen to any of us. I think for me, it's important that we're at least talking about it and not acting like it's not going to happen and not turning our backs on it. I think that's really important. I know it's a tough conversation. I know that, someone's going to be upset, with regards to whatever you say. But this is coming straight from my heart, and it's coming from a lived experience. So I will say that, and with that, I think I will end my report. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Council, we've reached the end of business. Thank you very much. Staff, thank you very much, and the members of the public for whom we serve, thank you so much for being here and for watching. With that, we are adjourned.